Hi, Kotshe Maifala. I'm so excited to have you on the second last IG Live, but must I say a pre-recorded session. I'm glad that, we get to discuss Forest for the Trees because it did so well. The kind of feedback that people gave it was remarkable. The turnout itself was amazing. How did it feel being sold out? Did you think it was gonna sell out?
It felt good, obviously, that the whole team, it was a team effort, to be honest, to be able to sell it out. Everyone was helping in the crew just to make sure that we sell those tickets, and a lot of people just know about the film. It felt great.
Amazing. I can only imagine. But speaking of films, how did you get into film? Is it something you've always been passionate about, or is it something that's developed over time?
I think I've always been into film without realizing or having the concept of, like, in mind of making films, like I'm making a film. I think I was just, in my mind, I was just making videos. I think I spent a lot of time when I was young documenting things just happening around me. And I used, like, I don't know if you know Windows Movie Maker.
Ah, the OG.
Yes, that's where, like, it like, can I say, from editing, like proper editing, when I had my first edit, I did it in Windows Movie Maker. But before film, I was mostly into animation. I was always drawing storyboards. So I had, like, this obsession with art and just, like, animations and stuff. So after that, I think I had my first camera when I was in, I think it's Form 2 or something like that. But it wasn't mine, it was for my mom's. She was just use it for graduations and stuff. So, I'll just be the guy who's just taking pictures, but, it had this recording option of video. So I just messed around
Oh,
with it a bit more, and before you know it, I took it to school, and that's when I just, like, started documenting, and, I met other people who are just interested in the same thing.
amazing. I'm sure a lot of the younger viewers who will be listening will be
Mm.
inspired by that because starting young is one of like the key attributes to success. There's a long way and a long journey on things that you are to learn in the film industry, and I'm
Mm.
sure starting young has helped you get ahead, as we've already seen.
Yeah.
But speaking of the film industry, specifically in Botswana, when you joined it and when you happened to contribute to it in the way that you have, is it anything like you had expected? I'm sure you were probably inspired as a kid looking at different films by different filmmakers globally
Mm.
and internationally, and
Mm.
you may have, had certain expectations for the film industry in Botswana. Is it
Mm.
something that you feel lives up to your expectations that you had when you originally joined?
So far, what I'm learning, it's like, when you're in school, you're such in a small enclosed environment of school, where the ultimate goal of what you're doing is just to submit and get more marks. But, like,
Right, right.
yeah, that's like the primary, can I say, world that you live in. Now, coming into the industry, you find what everything is centered around television. So it's hard for you to get your work on seen on television because there's a tedious tender process that you have to go through that doesn't always guarantee that your film is going to be seen or your work is going to go through. But there are so many TV stations that are now coming into, that are now looking for content, that are now looking for that. So the coming of that, as well as film festivals, the Botswana Film Festival, which I'm a part of, is now there for, it's a platform that is now there to help, you know, stir up the conversation as well as help with this issue. Yeah, there's nowhere where we can regularly go just tap into watching locally made content by our own. So that's what I'm now seeing, in the industry of Botswana. It's growing slowly, but, we need more and more platforms to be out there. We need the culture of just watching Botswana movies and appreciating Botswana movies to be something that is not just so foreign or something we're not used to. We just get to used to after every once in a while.
Now that we have a better understanding in terms of what you've done in the film industry in Botswana, I'm excited to be speaking about your debut film that was released early this year, I think in March.
Yeah, 9th March.
9th March. I remember how important that day was. I'd seen the flyers all over social media. There was such a buzz surrounding the film being released.
Mm.
I'm so excited for you to be sharing with us today the creative processes behind that. I know that you had written, you had produced, you had directed, and you had edited the film. And so I'm excited. Could you explain to us, take us through all those processes before you actually went ahead and shot the film?
Yes. Um, okay, we began obviously with the writing stage where
Right.
I wrote the film with a friend of mine called Chisambe Kapia. Basically, the idea behind it was we wanted to write something involving family and something involving youth because we felt like it was the conversation uh, that we wanted to have with people about just talking about how family these days is such a challenge to youth, especially things. So many of our problems
Right.
are just rooted in family, like
True.
because we have a lot of dysfunctional families because of so many challenges of us just developing as a country, and as a continent. We found it's better to start off there and just talk about where we were and what we think is happening and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. So from there, we just went into producing it, like it actually now getting into production. We didn't have we didn't have a casting session to be honest, because
Oh, okay.
the budget that we had was only 3,000 pula, to try and piece everything together. So, it's not that amount of money to shoot a 25-minute short film with
Wow.
with four different locations and involving so many people. So what we decided to do is that we are just gonna scout out, can I say, the best people that we can afford.
Right.
And pretty much we're just talking to just different people who are just willing to lay a hand. But I won't lie, like when we were beginning, we didn't have as much of a crew as we had in the end, because of the time when we were starting, some people were like committed to other things, and people were busy with so many things. So it was like because when you don't have money sometimes, and people are trying to survive, people are trying to have priorities. It's not easy to pull people together. But
Right.
what happened is that the more we kept shooting, the more we kept working, and after that rough cut that we had, a lot of people now that I prior called started now showing interest, and they were like, okay, we like what you were able to do by yourself. Can we please
Mm.
can we please lend a hand? And Kizito at the time, I showed him. He saw the rough cut at Molapo. It was showing. It was like 8 minutes long, and I told him, "Yo, I want to finish this film." And he was very supportive throughout the whole process. He even borrowed me some of his lenses so that we can just go, finish those intro scenes and the other smaller pieces that we were going to piece together in editing. He was very forward with helping, and he felt like if he's going to get the role of co-editor, he should really have worked really, really, really hard. And, he really did
Mm.
pull through. And, he helped me a lot with also organizing other people who also contributed in the music aspect of the sound. This is
Oh, okay.
Desmond Chona as well as Walter Chona. So I met Lincoln, who is also one of the composers of the film, through Picasso, who was doing the visual effects of the film. So
Right.
he recommended him. And all these people were just they loved the vision, they loved the vision that me and Chisambi came up with. And they were just like, yo, we're so interested in helping you finish this film. And, we understand you don't have money, but we love the vision and we are willing to give you our resources and let us, use us however you want. And, eventually, it was very, very, very supportive of them. And I think it's also the vision that was so important to them that they were interested in, that helped speed up everything, as well as the actors. You know what I mean? Like they were just looking
Right.
for, just for, I remember I met Noms at a time where she was working on other things, but she wanted something different. She wanted something. She was so used to acting in roles that like in town, But once she saw the script
Mm.
and she saw that okay, we're actually filming outside of town and also just traveling, she got very excited, and she recommended Bebo, who plays alongside her in the film as Kosi.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
the issue with the kid, how I discovered the kid was I was looking for a kid who can act. So Jack, who is the guy who's doing the drone, he's a friend of mine. We go way back. He just told me, "Yo, my brother, I think he can do this for you. He's used to being in front of the camera, so I don't think he'll be much of a problem." So after just recommending him, I just went to talk with the parents, tell them what I was interested in doing, and the kid just came. The kid just pulled through, and it was like everything came together. Like, can I say, from when we were starting with actors. But when it comes to the, can I say, the music part and the other things, that came
Mm-hmm.
later after we were long done shooting and I did the rough cut.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that was the main thing. I think the rough cut was the main thing, and also it just circulating Komolapo Crossing at the festival that AVDA and the other institutions organized. I think the rough cut is the thing that now brought everyone closer to now say, okay, let's finish this project. Let's really go an extra mile from the review that it got from that festival.
Right. I think that's very interesting. I like that first of all you had mentioned how, different connections tied into other connections
Mm.
in relation to how the vision itself was articulated. But I think moreover, I think just in general, your vision was well defined, and it was you had already taken that step. You
Mm.
had already done the work. The 8 minutes is still quite it was well implemented in a way that it could draw the right attention
Yeah.
and get people to consider the potential in it and the potential to take it further.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something to definitely commend you for. But I
Thank
think
you.
even just in general, actors, I wanted to talk about actors
Yes.
as much as the production team played such an important role in the final coming together of the film.
Yeah.
Where actors are concerned, I mean, how easy was it to keep them inspiring? We know that you had filmed this over a period of 8 months. And was this 8 months, did it include, the process of writing and producing, or was it just filming itself?
Um, Let me say the writing took us about 2 weeks. Just to,
Oh,
yeah, we took 2 weeks just to write the whole start, beginning, middle, end part. And then the shooting took us about 3.5 weeks. So
okay.
what actually happened was, I think within a period of a month and a half, that was shooting and writing. But to properly lay things down, with the kid, this kid is he goes to school, Wawan.
Right.
So it's like I met him at a time where he was on holiday. There was like school semester break on their end. So
Mm,
as much as because I didn't have a budget that was like paying people for their time and talent, I was mostly working on people's schedules when people are free, when I'm able to work with people and stuff like that, as well as
right.
with the location owners, because most of these people were farm owners. So I had to go there, check with when ba tlogetse mang at the farm, because you can just show
Right.
up. So I'll go there and check them with their schedules and make sure, okay, on this day the farm is free to use. Then I go talk to Devo, then I go to talk to everyone basically who was able to come through. So with the kid, it depended on the times. I think that's why it ended up taking a long time to shoot, because and also
Right.
yeah, and also we're shooting at a time where winter was approaching, but the film is centered
It was in summer.
in summer. So actually, the first shoot was bad. It was so bad that like the first shot, like on the script says it's sunny, there's tall grass, simple, right? And
Mhm.
like I remember when we got there, like in the morning when I woke up around 5 and like started looking at the weather. Around about 7, it was cloudy. It was cloudy, but like dark cloudy. And I was like, my goodness, this is not gonna come together. But I was just like, you know what? Let's go. Maybe it will be,
Mhm.
bright and fun. Yeah. So when we get to the set, we're there. Everything is there. We've talked to the farm owner. People are now arriving. Nomsa comes with Thebo and the kid. It starts raining.
Hmm.
It starts raining and it doesn't stop until 4 in the afternoon. Now when the sun is
From
just
morning.
no until like it started raining around 9 o'clock till because call time was 10. So it started raining at 9. So when people arrive at 10, it's still raining, and it gets heavier and heavier and heavier until 4 o'clock in the evening.
Hmm.
So you can imagine it's raining for the whole day, and you're just hoping that it will stop raining because it's like the footage that I was going to use was practically unusable. But we just decided to use the time and just film. You know, I just started filming, filming, filming. But when I got home, I loved the shots, but the weather was not complementing what we were trying to do. So
Right.
we decided to reschedule again with everyone and their time and narrowing everything down till the day we started filming again like properly now where there was sun and everything started coming together. But I love the fact that it failed the first time because it gave us more time, can I say, to rehearse and
Oh,
properly
okay.
stage, can I say, get with the act, because I was already familiar with the location, but I think it helped actors more to, can I say, there's something about doing things for the first time, the first with the first locations that make certain people uncomfortable, especially with the kid.
Mm.
He was so afraid because we were filming in this tall grass, and he was afraid of snakes or those smaller kind of things.
Oh, right, right, right.
So I think after on the second shoot, he was more comfortable with the location
Mm-hmm.
now. He's more familiar with how to go about, and people, as well as people just come into the location. It saved more time. People know how to get there in time, with where to stop, because the bus stops are so confusing because we're in a village, and it's just like, it helped time and everything to become a bit more effective, even though we already lost a bit of time with the first fail shoot because of weather. So that was like pretty much the first challenge that we just encountered with starting.
Right. And then how did you manage to kind of keep them inspired? I mean, I'm hearing from you that
Mm,
now that you explained the situations with the weather, even just in terms of the standard of excellence for the film,
yeah.
when you look at it as a final product, it looks, I don't want to say easy to make because it doesn't look easy to make, but it
Yeah.
looks like it's just, it has this freshness to it when
Yeah.
you're watching it that you would never imagine that you had to literally consider the weather and things that were basically out of your control. So,
Mm,
I mean, was there any kind of compromising? I mean, obviously you had an idea in your head of the final product
yeah.
and, you had to compromise here and there, I'm assuming.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot that we had to compromise. There's a lot because of time, because of budget, and also just because of people and like what was possible at the time and the resources. I mean, you find with every script that you write, you're gonna shoot 60% and you're gonna edit 40%. So pretty much on making a film, you're making 40% of what you initially started with. I mean,
Right.
I had scenes where I would have wanted like the beginning to, because we had this idea of having more people in the beginning shots. We wanted this guy to go through a village where there's food, and like when you go through villages and you just see activities of what's going on.
Oh,
So
like the marketplace kind
like
of
a
thing.
marketplace. So we wanted to first have the journey of Kosi going home, him just going through these different places, buying so many things to get home. And we wanted to establish that where he's going is very, very far, that, it's almost like the shot takes 2 minutes of just you watching him getting further and further away from the market, the town, and
Mm,
everything. So that wasn't possible because of the budget. That wasn't possible also because of time and who we could access. So we just ended up opting to go for him just driving through the the wilderness and just going through the forest until he just gets home. So that's like, can I say, the first compromise in the movie. There's a lot of things that we started changing, a lot of things that made it better, and there are also
mm-hmm.
things that made it a bit not better. So I feel like you can do all the planning you want, but when reality settles in, when you get to actually doing the project, I'm sure you as a photographer, you have situations where you want something in a very specific format, in a very specific way, and then when you get to the location, it doesn't give you what you originally wanted, or when you get there, the model or whoever you're using doesn't give you what you want based
Right.
on the situation that arises. Things change all the time, and I feel like
Yeah.
it's like one thing I've realized about filming is, or whatever project that you're doing, it's more about the experience of making it than
Right.
the end product. So
Definitely.
you're constantly making decisions and you're constantly solving problems. You think when you get there, our lighting will be like this, and then you find it's something. So you're constantly solving problems from the minute you just set on foot and look around. You're solving so many problems. So that's just like what I realize about when you talk about compromising and making hard decisions. You're asking how I was able to keep everyone focused, everyone motivated, and everyone interested
Mhm.
in making the project. I would say because of the script first. I think my actors were very interested in playing something different. Debo was used to playing a gangster all the time. So he
Mhm.
was always playing gangster roles and on this time he was playing a father who's living in a farm, but he's still a youth. So he could relate to the character, but at the same time, it was just like a role that he's never fully went into, like when working on productions, because most of the time he has a physique and a look of a gangster. So people just cast him there. So I think
Mhm.
he was exploring a different area of acting or a different area of a role. Nomsale and she was also interested in the character. So most of the people who worked on it, even Tabile, who was playing the Mozei, the woman in the forest, she was interested in the character. So I think that by itself became something that kept them interested in learning more about the character, finding a way to do it better all the time. So, because it wasn't something they were used to. So I think that's what kept pretty much everyone interested. So I think another thing also was because after we shoot, I'll show them some of the shots that we
Mhm.
did, like or sort of like a recap. Uh,
Okay.
so I think also that motivated them a bit more. Me just showing them where we are, how they are looking, and complimenting them, and just like having this constant flow of reviews and everything. Obviously, we'll do this after we're done shooting or in between. But I think also another thing that contributed a lot was the location because
Right.
we're actually shooting in a farm that is not in a remote area, like not in a town area, somewhere where it's remote with an actual farm, with them actually wearing the props of the characters, with them actually being it. Like I feel like it played a very large impact or part in adding to them just being inspired to even focus more and be more engaged.
Interesting. I like that you said you would show them recaps. I think that's something I know personally as a photographer, I've never thought of doing that because I usually think it has an opposite effect where I'm like,
Mm,
okay, if I show you what you've done so far,
yeah,
maybe you'll look at, what you've not done perfectly and you'll be discouraged. But if
yeah,
you put it in the way that you're doing it, that's definitely something I'd like to try out even in my own practice.
yeah.
So moving forward, I mean, lately on the website, and I was having an interview with Kizito just last week. I was talking about the importance of patience with projects, and I specifically
Mm,
direct this question to you as a director and him as an editor and
mm,
people involved in the filmmaking industry because I feel like time for you is not necessarily the same as time for me.
yeah.
When I'm taking pictures, it's takata. It's literally as fast as my camera shutter speed.
Mm,
Whereas with you, it's a lot of planning, and it's not just about getting the footage, but it's getting the right footage, and there's so much work that goes beforehand
yeah.
that plays a major role in the final product. And
Mm.
so I wanted to understand from you, just in terms of time management, how do you manage your time? And I mean, do you ever get discouraged along the way? I mean, when I think of doing a short film, I'm like, yo, do I have the patience to deal with,
Yeah.
all the time factor and the time management part of it, and just being patient with, like you had said, the compromises or just the things that will not fall into place overnight. How
Yeah.
do you navigate that?
Um, I would say this. First, you should have a schedule,
Right.
and I can't stress how important it is for you to know what you need to do and when and why and how you're gonna do it. Like film, it's like you need to always have, obviously, it's when it comes to the other things, you can compromise here and there. But having a schedule, like I had everything planned out.
Mhm.
I knew which lens I'm gonna take because I was using just like basic lens. I'll just use the 50 millimeter and the 50 millimeter, 55 millimeter and the 50 millimeter kit lens that come. The starter.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, as well as the Canon 700D. So that's what I was using. A lot of people would say, "Yo, you're using a Black Magic," but I was just using just the standard stuff. But the most important thing that I have realized is organizing and knowing when to do it, how to do it, all those things like writing every single little thing, even your pen, even your you have to be so obsessive with all the things that you're gonna need because sometimes not writing your memory card on your checklist and checking it before you go and checking it after you leave,
Yeah. Oh
it
my
can
gosh.
it can destroy everything. You can imagine you traveling 50 kilometers to set, and when you get there, you have everything, but you've forgotten your card.
Oh my God.
And the car you were using, the person, you only have an agreement for them to drop you there and just go, and he has to go somewhere, and then they have to pick you in the afternoon.
Oh
And
my gosh.
that's it. And it's those small, and that means you can shoot. You have everything, but you can't shoot. So I feel like writing everything down and schedule, as well as because people will ask you, Luana, people will ask you, when are we doing this? What time? Yana Lan.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to know your stuff on schedule. It helps you to save a lot of money because you don't want to be overspending on transport because you forgot something. So understanding your schedule and understanding because you're working with time and money all the time. So,
Right.
so I think that's one thing about film or any project. It's like you have to be creative in a time and a budget. Like it's as creatives, we want to take so much time doing what we want to do. We don't want to be told no. You, there's mood swings. Let's be honest. There are times where
Mm,
you feel like you don't want to do this, but you have to do it. You have to discipline
yeah.
yourself to do it. So how I do things, me, I just make sure that I have everything down to a lot. The time, the equipment, everything. And I think that keeps me motivated to know where I am and where I'm lacking behind because I'm able to keep track of are we making progress or are we actually not
Mm.
making progress? Because I've been to a lot of video shoot sets where people are just freestyling, and most of the time they forget the most important things. They can't prioritize when it comes.
Mm.
Like when now you're running out of time, you can't prioritize because you don't know what to prioritize because nothing is planned. So I feel like
Mm.
it saves you a lot of money, it saves you a lot of time, and also it makes people to take what you're doing very seriously because they're seeing that you're taking their time and your time very seriously. So
Right.
in that setup, motivation, being serious, and being focused becomes easy because now you as a director, you are setting the environment for that. So it's like every time everything is dependent on you. People are watching you, what is he going to say? Is he going to come on
Mm.
time? Because if you don't come on time, you're telling people, it's not important for us to be here early.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is resting on you, everything is driving on you. So all the time it's like I've been saying, you it creates the environment for that. So
Right. Right.
so I think that's very important, establishing that environment of professionalism and being serious and being very focused, and I think that when you talk about navigating and being patient with time and being patient with projects, I think hella just respecting time and schedule and vision, it helps a lot. It helps a lot. It's not easy. There are times where I wake up
Mm.
where I don't feel like going to do that shot. And I'm asking myself, is it necessary? But you have to go and do it. You know, and it's like people are constantly watching and judging you. And
Mm.
one thing I realized, when you are beginning a project, people love you, Towela. People love you. They love you. You're the best. You're the best. As you keep
Mm.
going on the weeks, people are tired of eating the same stuff. They start complaining, and before you know it, you're gonna have enemies. That's because you can't
Mm.
you can't make everyone happy. But the best thing you
Right.
can do is do as much as you can for the project and always direct everything to the project. It's a learning process.
Mm.
I'm making mistakes myself. You know, I'm not perfect. It's not like I have everything figured out. It's not like with every situation I know what to do. But because I have everything to a schedule, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, when and how, it helps, when situations arise, I think you are more prepared because your mind is more prepared for that because, you know,
Mm. Yeah.
because of just you being organized and focused.
Right. Actually, my next question was to ask you what advice you could give to someone who wants to start on a project but is overwhelmed by the time factor to it. But I think you've already kind
Mm.
of established the many ways that people can navigate the entire production process and not just time, from having a schedule that prioritizes what is most important
Mm.
and being able to kind of relay that to everyone else that's involved in the production process.
Yeah.
Um, and also just the many different kind of aspects of production that, or of filmmaking,
Yeah.
or of directing, that kind of leadership. I think, actually, if anything, that's what I think you've been stressing most,
Mm.
is being able to be a leader, being able to know your stuff, being able to come prepared, being able to appreciate the people you work with,
Yeah.
being able to network yourself with the right people, being able to put your work out there. Like you had said, you had put the 8 minute kind of short clip at the festival for After at Malapa Crossing. Just
Yeah.
different things that you had done and leadership positions that you had taken to let everyone else kind of follow the path that you had taken, kind of remain on the journey with you,
Yeah.
despite how difficult it may have been. Like you had said, it wasn't easy. You went through a lot of obstacles. People got tired along the way. People got discouraged along the way.
Mm.
But it's very interesting for you to kind of have taken charge despite all those emotions. And while are they also dealing with the emotions of other people, you're also dealing with your emotions as well. You're
Mm.
dealing with the doubt. You're dealing with the, when is this going to be completed? You're dealing with all the other people, like you were saying, as creators, the last thing you want is someone on your back saying, do this and do that and do this. But there are people, the farm belongs to someone, and, time is, people have their own schedules that may be conflicting, etc. Things
Yeah.
that you don't have control over, but you were able to kind of stay sane and keep your mind on this phenomenal vision that you had. And we've seen the products of it. We've seen it being produced and being directed and being written well and being edited well. And the outcome of it, we came and we supported. I know so many people. Actually, the other day I had put it up on. I had put on my Instagram, and when I was announcing that I was gonna have an interview with you.
Yeah.
I had said, "Do you guys remember this film?" And I was like, "The one that sold that." And like people messaged, they didn't even go through my whole status. I had like literally 4 people message me back, and they were like, "What do you mean? Are you trying to say like they thought that I was announcing that you were having another screening?" And then
Oh.
another friend, I was like, "Oh, that's so sad." And my best friend is like, "I can't believe you did that. Like you played with our feelings." Like I'm just like, people really want. That's how good it was. People want to go watch it again. They want to process it again. They want to take it in again. It was such an iconic moment
Yeah.
for the film industry, Madonna. Like I don't think you will ever even be able to personally even understand the magnitude of it and just like the impact that it's had.
Yeah.
For me to even be talking about it months later, and for
Yeah.
people to still be as interested as they are in the narrative, and just not even just the narrative. I think there's the story itself on screen, and then
Yeah.
there's the story off screen, which is what you're explaining now, which is also just as good. Really understanding how you were able to have different people from different backgrounds, and how they were all involved in this phenomenal project. So big ups to you. I could go on and on and on and on. But big ups to you. I'm so glad we got to speak about this. I've had so many questions for such a long time. I'm grateful to be able to use my platform and in my capacity to kind of address all the questions that I had. And yeah, I'm excited. I hope you will be putting something out soon as well. We'll be waiting for that. Do you have anything that we should be looking forward to over the next couple of months?
Yes, I definitely do. I've been working on a couple of films as well as other music videos. So I think 2019 is the year to look for. I've just been organizing this time and just like because of the networking and people I've met, just putting out this project, I'm able, we've just been able just to do a lot of planning as well as execution. So right now, yeah, I have about several projects on hold that I'm still working on. With Kizito, you're gonna see something I've been working on with Kizito. You're gonna be seeing something I've been working on with Jack, and just like different people that I've met. So 2019, I think that's when we're gonna start, dropping projects, music videos, films. 2019 is the year to look for.
I am excited. 2019 is where it's at.
Yeah.
I'm excited. All right, then I guess that's all the time that we have today. Thank you so much, Victor, for taking the time to answer all my questions. When those films come out, we will have another interview to kind of discuss at length everything else that you're working on, and hear things firsthand from you, so that we don't get left out in the cold, and we don't get people messaging and asking for when the next screening is because they missed the first screening because of how sold out it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, once again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for answering all my questions. I wish you the best in your future endeavors. We will definitely be looking forward to seeing what you'll be putting out in the months to come.
Thank you so much also for having me and also doing this. I know I just met you through Kizito, a while ago, but I'm very grateful that we're now here talking, about basically issues affecting us and things that we go through as filmmakers and creatives. And I'm very grateful for what you're doing, and I support it, and I big up, and I think you should keep doing it, because we need more people in Botswana. Every time when you Google on YouTube on advices of film and whatnot, you wish you wish that you could see a bit more people talking in Botswana on how to do things, how to to navigate and do all those small anyana things. But it helps a lot. This actually puts us on the map and also just helps. It helps a lot for someone who's schooling or someone trying to figure it out in Botswana because it's relatable.
Right. Thank you so much. I'm so humbled by those words. Thank you so much. I'm, like I said, very grateful that you get to be a part of it in the process of me being able to execute my vision, my creative vision for the industry Botswana.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for answering all my questions and being patient enough to share with us your experience, being honest about it as well. I'm excited.
I'm very excited as well. Thank you so much.
Amazing. So in conclusion, thank you all to our viewers. Thank you for listening in on my interview with Kotshe Maifala, the director of The Forest of the Trees, film that debuted at New Capital Cinemas in early March this year. And yeah, we'll be waiting to hear from him on his future endeavors. But otherwise, thank you for listening to our interview. Catch me next week on my IG Lives. We'll be presuming our IG Lives. We will be interviewing two last guests for the year, and yeah, we'll be concluding on an amazing note. So you don't want to miss that. Otherwise, for a blog post update, I have my next blog post on the 10th of December, being Monday. It will be on drawing inspiration from people, and I'll be sharing with you 3 types of people that I draw inspiration from. So be on the lookout for that. Otherwise, thank you to our viewers at home. Until next time, ciao.